Immigration law is complicated, and simple mistakes can lead to delays or even denials. In today's episode, we'll cover the most common mistakes immigrants make and how to avoid them. I'm attorney Ahmed Yagzan, the owner of the American Dream Law Office. I represent clients every day in immigration proceedings before USCIS, EOIR, and the federal courts. I have been practicing for 15 years and I have seen a lot of things happen to clients, unfortunately, due to mistakes that they make in preparing and submitting their benefit applications. Sometimes they're not even eligible for the benefit application that they applied for, but they trusted the wrong person to help them apply for it. Immigration law and immigration lawyers are worth their weight in gold. And if you're trying to apply for a benefit application in the United States, it really behooves you to hire an immigration attorney who is going to be your advocate, who is going to make sure that you comply with every single aspect of the law that you have to prove to get that benefit application, especially in the asylum arena. Asylum applications in the United States are not simply filing for the I-589 form. You have to submit a lot of evidence to prove your case. We will discuss some of this in this episode, and I really hope you stay tuned until the end, where I will give you ways to contact my office for any help when it comes to immigration law. Now, the first mistake that I see people doing is missing deadlines and incomplete applications. And I'm going to stay with the example of the asylum application for a second. But a shocking number of applications are denied simply because they are incomplete or late. USCIS and embassies follow strict deadlines. Missing one can mean starting over or even losing your chance entirely. Always double check submission deadlines. So, for example, if you are applying for consular processing, someone applied for you for your permanent residence card, and you are outside the United States, you've gone through the process of applying with the I-130, and the I-130 was approved and it was sent to the National Visa Center. But you put it on the back burner and you waited too long to apply for your immigrant visa in the United States. If you wait for more than a year, the National Visa Center will assume that you didn't want your green card anymore. So it's very, very important to make sure that you submit that application within 1 year. And if you don't do that within the 1 year deadline, you're going to have a really hard time trying to apply for that, or you're going to have to restart everything that you've done so far. And that sometimes takes years to happen. So please, please, please don't miss any deadlines. The second deadline that I wanted to talk about is the asylum deadline. You have a 1 year requirement for you to apply for asylum when you come here to the United States, from your last entry into the United States. If you miss that 1 year deadline and you don't have an exception for that 1 year deadline, meaning you don't fall under one of the exceptions listed in HCFR, you're going to not be eligible to apply for asylum. And a lot of people miss that deadline and send their applications in only for their application to be referred to the immigration judge. Because USCIS takes a posture that they cannot adjudicate it if the application was done more than 1 year ago, or that application was done after the 1 year deadline. So following up with these deadlines in your cases is very important, and doing it on your own, we all get busy, we have our lives and we get busy and forget. But if you don't want to forget these deadlines, hire an immigration attorney to help you prepare these applications correctly, help you prepare to apply timely, and help you prepare to put the evidence that's required under the immigration benefit that you're applying for. The second segment, we're going to be speaking about providing inconsistent or incorrect information. So, one of the big things in immigration law is misrepresentation. And if the immigration officer or the adjudicator thinks that you are lying or giving him incorrect information, you are going to be in a lot of trouble. Sometimes it's waivable, sometimes it's not waivable. So telling the adjudicator something that is not true, and if they know that it's not true, it's going to land you on hot water in immigration. So please don't do it. Many applicants get RFEs, or what's called a request for evidence, because their documents contradict each other. Make sure that your employment history, address, and family details are consistent across your documents. It's not only on RFEs. I've represented people for 15 years in the immigration system, and one of the worst things that you could do is lie. Lying to the officer or lying to your attorney is a very grave thing that you might do. And please, 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 please do not lie to your attorney, because if you tell your attorney ahead of time, they might be able to help you. And they might be able to help you by, uh, you know, limiting the things that will happen because of the misrepresentation, or it might not even be a misrepresentation to begin with, and it was probably just a mishap or something that you didn't intend to do. But not telling your attorney is going to be very, very, very bad. And if your attorney discovers that you are not telling them the truth during your interview, some of my colleagues and myself will literally walk out of the interview because they cannot support perjury under the ethical rules in many jurisdictions in the United States. So please, please, please do not misrepresent anything. Do not misrepresent any facts in your case that will be detrimental to your application. Now, let's talk about not hiring an attorney when needed. In the United States, there are only two types of people who can help you prepare and submit your application to USCIS or to EOIR, an immigration court, or the Board of Immigration Appeals. These two kind of people are attorneys who are licensed in any state of the United States, and accredited representatives that the government has given a license for them to help you prepare documents for someone else. Anybody else who doesn't have the certification or is not an attorney is not allowed to help you prepare your application. So if you are thinking about hiring someone at the street or a notario or anything like that, please do not do that. Some cases are straightforward, but others, especially those involving criminal records, overstays, or asylum, require legal help. An immigration lawyer can save you time, money, and stress. Let me tell you about one of those horror stories that I have seen when in my practice. I had someone who was accused of trafficking cocaine before. And he went to someone because they thought that it was an easy case. They went to an immigration paralegal or a notario to help him apply for a green card. They got married to a United States citizen, and they were on the immediate relative preference, so they didn't have to wait for a visa number, and they ended up applying for the green card anyways. And unfortunately, because of that trafficking conviction that he had, we had to do a lot of things to get him out of hot water. When he went to the interview on his own, he was actually captured by ICE and sent to removal proceedings. And that's where I intervened. And I was hired to get him out of removal proceedings. So things like that are very important. Also, a lot of notarios these days are helping people apply for asylum even though they don't qualify. They say, well, it's going to pen for years. You're going to be able to get work permit and social security number at, until your application is adjudicated by immigration. But unfortunately, because of the new change in the administration, these applications will be adjudicated very quickly. So applying for something that you don't qualify for or that you don't have a basis for is very, very, very wrong. And it will land you in hot water. So please hire an attorney, speak to an attorney, pay for a consultation, make sure that you qualify before you do anything in the immigration system. If you want to make sure your case is handled correctly, visit my website at adlo.law for a consultation. Thank you, and I'll talk to you later.